Hi everyone, I'm Tanaaz from foreverconscious.com and this is your weekly energy forecast for the week of April 21st. April 21st brings the peak activation of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. This energy has kind of been bubbling in the background for a while, but we are now at the height of it. This is the peak of the portal of energy that Jupiter and Uranus brings. And essentially, in a nutshell, this is about stepping out of our comfort zones, doing something radical, doing something surprising, really listening to that true, authentic voice, that unique spark, that unique spirit, and then acting on that, allowing ourselves to think differently, think bigger, be more courageous, step out of our comfort zones, follow that intuitive or innovative spark to kind of step out of the box and do something new and do something different. And when we do, we are rewarded. We receive abundance. We receive some kind of gift. In a nutshell, this energy is really encouraging us to step out of our comfort zones and try something new. So if whatever's going on in your life, maybe that message resonates, maybe you have to kind of sit with it, but we're really being encouraged to do something different, to expand our mindset, to expand the way we've been thinking about things, and to perhaps, look at how we can, challenge ourselves to step out of that comfort zone. I also feel that this alignment is planting seeds that will help to change our definition of success. I don't think we're going to see it right yet, but I think as a collective, as a society, we tend to attach this idea of success to our careers. And I think that that is changing. Our purpose is not to work. And a lot of the times as well, you ask people, oh, what's my purpose? And it tends to be attached to a job. And I know we all want to feel purposeful with what we do and how we spend our time here, but our purpose is not work, right? We don't have to justify or validate our reason for being here. In a way, our purpose is a being more than a doing. And I think that's a collective seed that we're going to start to see shift under this energy. And perhaps our definition of success as a collective, as a society, will move away from, our career, our status, our finances, and into a more holistic portrait of who we are. And that's just something that I think is being planted, a seed that's being planted. And maybe that seed has now been planted in you, where you can start to think about your own definition of success and what it truly means to be successful to you, and what it truly means to have purpose in your life, and maybe trying to move away from that idea that success and purpose have to be tied to a career path, have to be tied to work or a job, because we are so much more than that. And again, I understand we want to feel purposeful with what we do every day, but it's more than that. And it's kind of more aligned with the Eastern philosophies, where they don't attach purpose to a job, or I know we have a habit here in the West too of asking even little kids, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up, and expecting their answer to be a job path, when really we are so much more than that, and we want to be so much more than that. So just something to think about, and something that I feel is going to shift a little bit under the energy of this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. I spoke a lot about this conjunction in last week's video, so if you're interested, go check that out. I also have an article up on foreverconscious.com kind of going through all of the energies as well, and how you can kind of track the energy in your own life. It kind of goes back to 2010. That's the last time we had this alignment. So it'll help you kind of feel out how this might be manifesting in your life. But essentially, this is a time to step out of our comfort zone. It's a time to do something different. It's a time to think different. It's a time to listen to that unique spark and to really allow that inner flame to shine bright for the world to see. I really think it's a beautiful energy. It can feel very volatile. And I think especially if we're looking at it on a collective level, it can bring a lot of shaky energy or unexpected or abrasive, abrupt action that is a little bit creates a feeling of instability. It can be a very shaky unstable energy. Uranus, after all, is the planet of awakening. And in order to awaken, it shakes things up for us. It gets us looking at what is stable, what is not stable, what needs to go, what needs to stay. It can kind of create a little bit of uncertainty as well. We can feel the rumbling and not really know what's going to stick, what's going to hold, what's going to last. And the gift with Uranus energy is just trusting the unknown and flowing in the uncertainty and being okay with not knowing. Usually when Uranus energy is strong, the message is go with the flow. And I think that's another element to kind of think about under this energy, especially if you're feeling that instability, or if you're seeing in the world around you a lot of rocking and shaking. That's the Jupiter-Uranus energy in effect, and it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And hopefully the unfolding of it leads to an awakening. And of course, we all want an awakening of peace for this world. That's, that's the goal, but we'll see how that manifests as we move through the months and even years following this cycle, 14-year cycle that we're now working with. Also this week, it's actually a bit of a busy week. We have the full moon. It's a Scorpio full moon. It's on the 24th. This full moon is one of the most significant full moons of the year. The Scorpio full moon is always, I like to say, one of the most significant full moons of the year. And that is because, well, for a couple of reasons. The moon actually does not like to be in Scorpio. The moon loves to be in water signs, and Scorpio is a water sign. It just doesn't really love Scorpio. Its energy is kind of what we call in astrology at its detriment when it's in Scorpio. Now that sounds a little bit negative, right? But I kind of think of it as the moon expressing itself in a more magical way. We're kind of getting the dark side of the moon. We're getting that deeper, more underworld elements of the moon. I also think it's interesting in a lot of the countries in the Himalayas and in that part of the world, they celebrate the Scorpio full moon as the Buddha moon. And it's a time of honoring the birth, enlightenment, and death of the Buddha. And it makes sense that it's on a Scorpio full moon because Scorpio is the sign of transformation. That idea where we see in religious motives a lot of, that birth, resurrection, death, that cycle, very, very Scorpio. So it's a good time, I think, to celebrate our own transformations and honor our own transformations that we have undergone. And I'm sure you've all been doing a lot of transforming based on the energies that we've been having. So it's a good time to acknowledge those transformations and to shed those final layers and make peace with that. Letting go can bring a lot of grief especially depending on what we are letting go of. So this full moon is sort of honoring that grieving process. It's honoring those layers that we know need to come off, or maybe they've already been stripped off us and we're just kind of dealing with the ramifications of that and just sort of soothing ourselves through the transformations that we've been through and finding some way to sort of celebrate ourselves in that process as well. It is a little bit of an intense full moon, but it's not an eclipse. The last full moon we had was an eclipse. So we're getting a little bit of a breather energy with that. I do imagine, however, with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and then the full moon, we are getting an intense mix of energies. So just look after yourself, trust the process. Again, we kind of have this theme of letting go with the full moon, and then Jupiter-Uranus is kind of like stepping out of our comfort zone. So letting go of those fears, letting go of those, inhibitions. I want to say the word for this week is liberation. How can we liberate ourselves and find a new strength and a new confidence in that? And then right after that full moon, a couple of days later, we have Mercury stationing direct. That's on the 25th, I think. 25th. And the full moon's on the 23rd. I'm sorry, I think I said the 24th. The full moon is on the 23rd. Mercury direct is on the 25th. So we have Mercury stationing direct. When Mercury stations direct, the image that goes with that is Mercury, the messenger of the gods, emerging from the underworld with all of the messages that it's taken in during its time in the underworld. So pay attention when Mercury goes direct, because it very often whispers little messages to us. It gives us some information, some insight. It tells us what it's collected from the underworld. So pay attention to the messages that you receive after Mercury goes stations direct, because often we receive some pretty insightful messages. So we're almost at the end of the month. Lots and lots of energies there to work with, many layers. Jupiter Uranus energy is kind of our overarching theme for the week. And I do think it's a week where I can say it's a liberating week. It's time to free ourselves. It's time to step out of our comfort zones, maybe take a leap of faith and see where we land. I hope you found that helpful. Of course, you can find more at foreverconscious.com. If you need help integrating these energies, check out the Scorpio full moon ritual. There's a link in the description box below. And of course, you can find all of it at foreverconscious.com. There is a tarot reading that comes along with the Scorpio ritual. I highly recommend you do it. It'll just provide a little more guidance and support for wherever you are. All right, I'm Tanaaz. Thank you so much.